In the vast, star-strewn expanse of the galaxy, where empires rose and fell like the tides of forgotten oceans, the planet Zorath stood as a beacon of unyielding tradition and fierce beauty. Its skies shimmered with auroras that danced like living flames, and its arenas echoed with the clash of blades that decided fates. Here, in the heart of the Zorathian Empire, ruled Princess Vira, a warrior of legend, her name whispered in awe and fear across 1,000 worlds. With hair as white as the purest starlight, cascading down her back in silken waves, her skin pale and flawless like polished marble, and ears that tapered delicately like those of ancient elven myths, she was a vision of ethereal grace wrapped in lethal power. Her body, curvaceous and toned from endless battles, was often clad in flowing garments of iridescent silk and armored accents that hugged her form, revealing just enough to stir the imaginations of those who dared to gaze upon her. Vira was no ordinary princess. Born of the royal bloodline that traced back to the first conquerors of Zorath, she had inherited not just a throne, but a ritual as old as the stars themselves, the Duel of Suitors. To claim her hand and the Empire's future, any challenger must face her in the sacred arena, a colossal colosseum carved from obsidian and lit by holographic flames. Hundreds had come, mighty warriors from scaled draconians to tentacled Nithurians, each believing their strength or cunning would prevail. But Vira's blade, forged from a fallen comet's core, had tasted the blood of over 500 souls. She moved like a shadow in the wind, her strikes precise and unforgiving, her eyes a piercing violet betraying no mercy. The crowds roared with each victory, but in the quiet chambers of her palace, Vira felt a growing emptiness. Was there no one worthy? No one who could match her fire without being consumed by it. Far from Zorath's glittering spires, on a blue-green world called Earth, humanity had only recently stepped into the cosmic fray. We were the newcomers, the soft-skinned primitives, as some aliens sneered, but oh, how we surprised them. Our ships weren't the fastest, our weapons not the deadliest, but our minds, they were our greatest arsenal. Adaptability, strategy, the sheer stubborn will to turn the tide, that was the human way. And among us was Alex Thorne, a diplomat whose name would soon echo through the stars. Tall and lean, with tousled dark hair and eyes like stormy seas, Alex carried himself with a quiet confidence that belied his sharp intellect. He wasn't a warrior by birth, he was a thinker, a planner, forged in the fires of Earth's diplomatic wars where words could topple regimes. Sent to Zorath on a mission of alliance, he had no intention of entering any arena. But fate, that capricious force, had other plans. It began on a night when the twin moons of Zorath hung low, casting a crimson glow over the capital city of Orales. The air hummed with anticipation as the latest suitor, a hulking brute from the Velquar clans, stepped into the ring. His muscles rippled under armored plates, his war axe gleaming. Vira, poised on the opposite side, adjusted the straps of her elegant battle attire, a form-fitting ensemble of silver-threaded fabric that accentuated her every curve, leaving her arms bare to showcase the intricate tattoos of her victories. The crowd's cheers swelled like a tidal wave as the duel commenced. The Velquarian charged with a bellow that shook the stands, his axe swinging in wide, devastating arcs. Vira danced aside effortlessly, her white hair whipping like a banner. She countered with a fluid slash, her blade singing through the air. Blood sprayed, and the giant fell, another notch in her legacy. As the medics dragged his body away, Vira raised her arms to the adoring masses, but her violet eyes scanned the horizon, searching for something more. In the royal box, her advisors murmured. "Another failure, Your Highness. The Empire needs an heir, a partner strong enough to stand beside you." Alex watched from the shadows of the diplomatic enclave, his heart pounding not from fear, but from a strange fascination. He had arrived weeks ago, negotiating trade routes and tech exchanges, but the ritual had captivated him. Earth's archives spoke of such customs in ancient myths, trials of worthiness, battles for love. But this was real, raw, and intoxicating. Vira's prowess wasn't just skill, it was art, a symphony of motion that stirred something deep within him. He found himself drawn to her palace audiences, where she held court in halls adorned with crystal chandeliers and holographic star maps. Up close, her presence was electric, her scent like exotic spices and ozone, her gaze piercing through the formalities. One evening, as negotiations dragged on, Alex was summoned to a private chamber. Vira lounged on a throne of levitating cushions, her attire more relaxed, a draped gown that clung to her gowned figure, the fabric shimmering with embedded lights. "Human," she said, her voice a melodic purr that sent shivers down his spine. "You intrigue me. Your people speak of peace, yet I see fire in your eyes. Why do you watch my duels?" Alex met her stare, his pulse quickening. "Because strength isn't always about the blade, princess. Sometimes, it's about knowing when not to swing it." Their conversation flowed like a river, touching on stars, wars, and the loneliness of power. For the first time, Vira laughed, a sound like tinkling bells at his tales of Earth's quirky customs. A spark ignited, subtle yet undeniable, a connection that transcended species. But whispers spread. Rival factions in the Empire saw the humans' influence as a threat. During a grand feast, a scheming advisor poisoned the air with doubt. "If no alien can claim her, perhaps the ritual is flawed, or perhaps we need an outsider to prove it." Eyes turned to Alex, and before he could protest, the crowd chanted his name. Vira's expression darkened, a mix of intrigue and concern. "You would dare?" she asked later, in the quiet of her gardens, where bioluminescent flowers bloomed under artificial stars. "I don't seek your throne," Alex replied, stepping closer, close enough to feel the warmth of her skin. "But if facing you means understanding you, then yes." Her hand brushed his, a tentative touch that lingered, charged with unspoken promise. The galaxy held its breath as the human prepared to enter the ring, not as a conqueror, but as something far more dangerous, a lover in disguise. As dawn broke over Zorath, the arena filled to bursting. Aliens from distant worlds tuned in via neural feeds, betting fortunes on the outcome. Vira stood ready, her blade at her side, her heart conflicted. She had slain warriors without remorse, but this human Alex, with his clever smile and unarmored form, stirred emotions she thought long buried. He entered the ring clad in simple earth fatigues, a modest sword strapped to his belt, no shield, no enhancements. The crowd erupted in laughter. "A fragile Terran. This will be over in seconds." The ritual horn blared, signaling the start. Vira circled him warily, her movements graceful, predatory. "Yield now, human, and I'll spare you humiliation." But Alex smiled, his eyes locked on hers. "Humiliation? Princess, I came to dance." She lunged, her blade a blur of light. He dodged, not with brute speed, but with anticipation, as if reading her thoughts. Again and again she attacked, sweeping low, thrusting high, each strike met with evasion that bordered on elegance. The audience hushed, sensing the shift. Vira's frustration grew, but so did her admiration. This wasn't a fight, it was a courtship, a test of minds. Sweat beaded on her pale skin, her breaths coming faster, her gown shifting to reveal the curve of her hip. Alex's strategy unfolded. He studied her patterns, the subtle tells in her stance, the way her ears twitched before a feint. He parried lightly, guiding her aggression, wearing her down without a single wound. Hours passed under the unrelenting suns, the duel stretching beyond any before it. Vira's strikes slowed, her fury giving way to curiosity. "Hal," she gasped, blade trembling. Alex closed the distance, his voice low. "Because I see you, Vira. Not just the warrior, the woman." In a final twist, he disarmed her with a clever twist of his wrist, her blade clattering to the ground. But instead of claiming victory, he offered his hand. Alliance, not conquest. The crowd exploded in cheers, but in that moment it was just them. Vira took his hand, her touch electric, pulling him close. Their lips met in a kiss that sealed more than a duel, a bond forged in the heat of battle, promising adventures among the stars. Yet, as they left the arena arm in arm, shadows lurked. Rival suitors plotted revenge, and whispers of forbidden love spread. The galaxy had learned of human ingenuity, but for Alex and Vira, this was only the beginning of a passion that could ignite worlds. But wait, dear listener, the stars hold more secrets. As alliances formed and enemies stirred, a greater threat loomed on the horizon, a cosmic storm that would test their newfound connection in ways neither could imagine. In the shadowed corridors of the Zorathian palace, where the walls pulsed with embedded starlight, and the air carried the faint hum of ancient machinery, Alex and Vira walked side by side, their fingers still intertwined from that electric moment in the arena. The cheers of the crowd faded into a distant roar, replaced by the soft echo of their footsteps on polished marble floors veined with glowing crystals. Vira's hand felt warm against his, her pale skin smooth like silk under his touch, but there was a tension in her grip, a subtle reminder that this victory was fragile, laced with dangers neither had fully anticipated. Alex glanced at her, catching the way her white hair caught the light, framing her face in a halo that made her seem both divine and dangerously attainable. Her violet eyes met his, flickering with a mix of triumph and something deeper, more vulnerable, that sent a thrill through him. They slipped into her private quarters without a word, the heavy doors sealing behind them with a whisper of hydraulics. The room was a sanctuary of opulence, vast windows overlooking Zorath's swirling auroras, a bed draped in fabrics that shifted colors like living orrery, and holographic displays flickering with star charts and whispers of imperial secrets. Vira released his hand reluctantly, turning to face him, her battle gown still clinging to her curves, marked with the faint sheen of sweat from the duel. "You could have died today," she murmured, her voice low and husky, carrying the melodic accent of her people. She stepped closer, her pointed ears twitching slightly as if attuned to the rapid beat of his heart. "Yet you chose to face me, not with rage, but with cunning. Why?" Alex felt the air thicken between them, charged like the prelude to a storm. He reached out, brushing a strand of her hair behind one of those delicate ears, his fingers lingering on the soft tip. It was warmer than he expected, sensitive, and he watched her shiver subtly at the contact. "Because I've seen enough battles won with blades," he replied, his voice steady but edged with desire. "I wanted to win you with everything I am." Her breath caught, and in that suspended moment, the galaxy's threats seemed distant. She closed the gap, her body pressing against his, the firmness of her form molding to him in a way that ignited every nerve. Her lips hovered near his ear, whispering, "Then show me human. Show me what makes your kind so irresistible." Their kiss deepened from the arena's brief spark into something consuming, her mouth tasting of exotic fruits and the faint metallic tang of Zorath's atmosphere. Alex's hands explored her back, tracing the elegant lines of her spine through the thin fabric, feeling the play of muscles honed by countless fights. She responded with a hunger that surprised even her, her fingers tangling in his hair, pulling him closer as if to merge their worlds. The erotic pull was undeniable, the contrast of her alien grace against his human solidity, the way her skin seemed to glow faintly under his touch, responding to his warmth. They moved toward the bed, shedding layers with urgent grace, his simple tunic falling away to reveal the lean, scarred torso of a man who'd survived Earth's intrigues, her gown slipping to the floor in a cascade of shimmering silk, exposing the full allure of her body curves that begged to be worshipped. Pale skin marked with faint, luminescent tattoos that pulsed like stars in rhythm with her pulse. As they tangled in the sheets, the suspense built like a coiling spring. Vira's hands roamed over him, curious and bold, discovering the differences that made him human, the roughness of his stubble against her smooth cheek, the way his body heated under her caresses. "You're so fragile," she breathed, her voice laced with wonder and a hint of teasing challenge, yet unbreakable. Alex flipped her gently beneath him, his lips tracing a path down her neck, eliciting soft gasps that echoed in the room. Her ears, those exquisite points, proved especially sensitive. A gentle nip sent waves of pleasure through her, her back arching in response. The air filled with their mingled breaths, the subtle sense of her spice and ozone blending with his earthy musk. Every touch was a revelation, a bridge across species, building tension that promised release but held back, teasing the edge. But even in this intimate haven, shadows crept in. Outside, in the palace's labyrinthine halls, rival factions stirred. The defeated suitors' allies, bitter from the humans' triumph, convened in hidden chambers. Lord Kale, a scarred draconian with scales like blackened iron, slammed his fist on a holographic table. "This Terran mockery cannot stand," he growled, his voice rumbling like thunder. "The princess belongs to the strong, not some scheming ape." His conspirators nodded, plotting sabotage, a poisoned chalice at the upcoming alliance banquet, or perhaps a rigged shuttle accident during their diplomatic tour. Whispers of their schemes filtered through the palace vents, carried by loyal spies who dared not interrupt the royal seclusion yet. Back in the quarters, unaware of the brewing storm, Vira and Alex lost themselves further. She guided his hands to her most secret places, her body responding with a glow that illuminated the room in soft violet. Hues, a biological quirk of her species, heightening the eroticism as if her very essence celebrated their union. "Feel me," she urged, her voice a sultry command, as his fingers explored the warmth between her thighs, drawing moans that built suspense in their rhythm. He obliged, his movements deliberate. Strategic, even here learning her responses like he had her fighting style, prolonging the pleasure until she trembled on the brink. The contrast thrilled her. Aliens had come to her with brute force, but this human wielded patience like a weapon, turning intimacy into an art of anticipation. As night deepened, their bodies entwined in a dance of passion. The first hints of external peril intruded subtly. A distant alarm chimed, a false alert, perhaps, but enough to make Vira pause, her violet eyes narrowing. "The Empire never sleeps," she whispered, pulling him back into her embrace. Yet the seed of suspense took root. Alex felt it too, the way her body tensed briefly before melting again under his touch. They continued, her legs wrapping around him, drawing him deeper into her world, the erotic pull intensifying with each thrust, slow at first, building to a crescendo that mirrored the duel's intensity. Her nails, sharp but careful, grazed his back, leaving faint trails that stung deliciously, marking him as hers. In the afterglow, as they lay tangled and breathless, Vira traced patterns on his chest with her finger, her white hair splayed across the pillows like a snowy veil. "You've awakened something in me, Alex," she confessed, her voice soft but edged with unspoken fears. "But alliances like this, they invite enemies." He kissed her forehead, feeling the delicate point of her ear brush his lips, sending another shiver through her. "Then we'll face them together," he promised, his hand sliding down her side, resting on the curve of her hip in a possessive, protective gesture. Unbeknownst to them, the plot thickened in the underbelly of Orales. Lord Kale's agents infiltrated the palace staff, swapping a ceremonial dagger for one laced with a neurotoxin that would mimic a natural death. The banquet loomed, a grand affair to announce the human-Zorathian pact, but now laced with lethal intent. Spies reported back the princess and her human consort were vulnerable in their seclusion, their passion a distraction from the gathering storm. As dawn's first light filtered through the windows, painting Vira's skin in golden hues, Alex stirred, his mind already strategizing. He pulled her close once more, their bodies fitting perfectly, the erotic warmth lingering like a promise. But the air felt heavier now, charged not just with desire, but with the thrill of impending danger. A soft knock at the door shattered the moment, a messenger with urgent news of border skirmishes, a diversion perhaps, but one that pulled them from their cocoon. Vira rose, her nude form a masterpiece of grace as she donned a robe, the fabric whispering against her skin. "Duty calls," she said, glancing back at him with eyes full of longing and resolve. Alex watched her, his heart swelling with a mix of love and wariness. The passion they'd shared was a spark, but the galaxy's fires threatened to consume it. As she left to address the council, he dressed, his thoughts racing. Who could he trust? What moves were the rivals making? The day unfolded with mounting tension. In the grand halls, diplomats buzzed, but Alex caught sidelong glances, jealousy from spurned allies, curiosity from others. Vira commanded the room, her presence magnetic, but when their eyes met across the crowd, the memory of their night sent a flush to her cheeks, visible even on her pale skin. He approached her during a lull, his hand brushing hers discreetly, fingers intertwining for a brief, electric second. "Tonight," he whispered, "we finish what we started." Her ears flushed a faint pink, a telltale sign of arousal in her species, and she nodded, the promise hanging like a veiled thread of ecstasy. Yet suspense coiled tighter. A servant offered Alex a goblet of wine, his eyes averting suspiciously. Alex hesitated, sniffing the liquid subtly. Was that a bitter undertone? He set it aside, his strategist mind alerting him to the peril. Vira noticed, her brow furrowing, but before she could speak, an explosion rocked the distant borders, a false flag attack, engineered to draw forces away. In the chaos they stole moments, a hurried embrace in an alcove, her body pressing against his, lips meeting in a kiss that tasted of urgency and forbidden fire. "Be careful," she breathed, her hands sliding under his shirt, nails grazing his skin in a way that reignited the erotic flame. He pulled her closer, feeling the heat of her through their clothes, the suspense of discovery adding to the thrill. As evening fell, they retreated to her quarters once more, the door sealing against the world's intrusions. Vira shed her robe with deliberate slowness, her eyes locked on his, building the anticipation. "Come to me," she commanded, her voice a sultry invitation. Alex obliged, their bodies colliding in a rush of need, hands exploring with renewed fervor. The erotic dance resumed, her legs wrapping around him, guiding him into her warmth, moans echoing as they moved together, the rhythm suspenseful, each peak threatening to unravel them. But in the midst of passion, a holographic alert flickered to life, incoming transmission from an unknown source. "Princess," a distorted voice hissed, "the human will pay for his insolence." The screen showed schematics of a bomb planted in the banquet hall. Vira froze, her body still entwined with his, the erotic high clashing with sudden dread. Alex's mind raced, even as he held her close. "We defuse this together." Their alliance, born in battle and sealed in bed, now faced its first true test. The night stretched on, passion interrupted but not extinguished, suspense weaving through every touch, every whispered plan. The holographic alert hovered in the air like a malevolent specter, its red glow casting eerie shadows across Vira's quarters, illuminating the tangled sheets and their still heaving forms. Alex's words, "We defuse this together," hung between them, a vow that transformed their intimate sanctuary into a war room in an instant. Vira's violet eyes widened, not with fear, but with a fierce determination that made her even more captivating, her white hair disheveled in a way that spoke of passion barely paused. She disentangled herself from him with graceful urgency, her pale skin flushing with the remnants of their heat as she summoned a tactical overlay on the hologram. "The banquet hall," she whispered, her pointed ears perking as if listening to the palace's hidden pulses. "It's set for tomorrow's alliance ceremony. If it detonates," Alex rose beside her, his human frame taut with adrenaline, pulling on his clothes with efficient motions while his mind raced through scenarios like a chess master plotting checkmate. The thrill of the unknown surged through him, the same rush that had drawn him into the arena, now amplified by the stakes of their budding love. He leaned in, his hand resting on the small of her back, feeling the subtle curve of her spine, a grounding touch amid the chaos. "Show me the schematics. Who has access?" "We can't trust the guards, not yet." Vira nodded, her fingers dancing over the controls, pulling up blueprints that floated in mid-air, lines of energy crisscrossing like a web of fate. As they studied the layout, their bodies brushed inadvertently, sending sparks that reminded them of unfinished desires, but the drama unfolding demanded focus. Curiosity gnawed at Alex, who dared threaten them now, when their union could reshape alliances across the stars. The palace corridors, usually serene under the aurora's glow, now felt like veins pulsing with hidden threats as they slipped out under the cover of night. Vira led the way, her form clad in a sleek black bodysuit that hugged her gowned figure like a second skin, accentuating the sway of her hips and the strength in her strides. Alex followed, armed with a concealed Earth-issued disruptor pistol, his eyes scanning every shadow. The air thrummed with tension, each footfall echoing like a heartbeat in a thriller unfolding in real time. They moved as one, their earlier intimacy forging an unspoken sync, her alien senses picking up faint vibrations, his strategic mind anticipating traps. "Lord Kale," Vira murmured as they paused at a junction, her voice a dramatic hush. "He's always coveted the throne. But to plant a bomb, it's suicide if discovered." A surprising twist hit them like a comet strike as they approached the service tunnels beneath the banquet hall. A faint beep echoed from Vira's communicator. It was an anonymous message, flickering to life. "The human is the key. But beware the mirror." Cryptic, curious words that sent a chill down Alex's spine. "Mirror?" he echoed, his brow furrowing. Vira's eyes narrowed, her delicate ears twitching. In Zorathian lore, mirrors reflect truths or deceptions, perhaps a double agent. The thrill intensified. They were no longer just lovers evading peril, but detectives in a galactic intrigue, each revelation peeling back layers of betrayal. Pushing deeper into the underbelly of Aurales, the tunnels grew dimmer, lit only by sporadic glow orbs that cast long, dramatic shadows. The air thickened with the scent of machinery and dust, a far cry from the opulent chambers above. Alex's heart pounded, not just from the danger, but from the way Vira glanced back at him, her violet gaze filled with a mix of protectiveness and desire that made every moment electric. They reached a sealed door, its panel humming with security fields. Vira placed her palm against it, but it buzzed, denial tampered. "Locked out," she hissed, frustration edging her melodic tone. Alex stepped forward, his human ingenuity shining through. "Let me." He pulled a small multi-tool from his belt, a relic from Earth's spy games, and interfaced it with the panel. Sparks flew as he bypassed the locks, the door grinding open with a groan that echoed like thunder in the confined space. Inside, the banquet hall's understructure loomed a cavernous space of support beams and conduits, the perfect hiding spot for devastation. They crept forward, the climax building with every step, the air charged with impending doom. Vira's hand found his in the gloom, a squeeze that conveyed volumes: trust, fear, love nascent but fierce. Then, a curious hum caught their ears, a low vibration from a shadowed alcove. There it was, the bomb, a sleek orb of alien tech, pulsating with red energy, countdown holographic digits ticking down to dawn. Neuroplasma core, Vira breathed, her pale face illuminated by its glow. One wrong move, and it levels the palace. The thrilling race against time began. Alex knelt beside it, his fingers hovering over the casing, while Vira scanned for tripwires with her enhanced vision. Sweat beaded on his forehead, the drama palpable as he whispered, "Talk to me, what's the disarm sequence?" She relayed it from memory, her voice steady, but laced with urgency, their proximity reigniting that erotic undercurrent even here. His hands worked delicately, peeling back panels to reveal a web of circuits that mirrored the palace's own nervous system. A surprising jolt as he disconnected a wire, the device sparked, and a hidden compartment popped open, revealing a data crystal. "What's this?" Alex pocketed it, curiosity burning brighter than the bomb's core. But the real surprise erupted in a whirlwind of motion. From the shadows lunged a figure, Lord Kale himself, his scaled form massive and menacing, eyes glowing with rage. "You?" he roared, his voice a dramatic bellow that shook the beams. "The princess was mine," he charged, claws extended, a thrilling clash inevitable. Vira met him first, her warrior instincts flaring. She drew a concealed vibro dagger, parrying his swipe with a clang that reverberated through the chamber. Alex rolled aside, the bomb's timer accelerating, now minutes from detonation. The fight was a symphony of drama, Kale's brute strength against Vira's agile grace, her white hair whipping as she dodged and struck, her bodysuit tearing slightly at the shoulder to reveal pale skin, marked by a fresh scratch. Alex's mind whirled, seeking an edge. He couldn't match Kale's power, but strategy, that was his domain. Spotting a loose conduit overhead, he fired his disruptor at it, sparking an electrical cascade that stunned the draconian mid-swing. Vira seized the moment, driving her dagger into his armor's joint, but Kale backhanded her, sending her sprawling. The sight ignited a fire in Alex, a protective fury he'd never known. "Get away from her!" he shouted, tackling Kale with surprising force, human tenacity turning the tide. They grappled, Kale's claws raking Alex's arm, drawing blood that dripped hot and red. The pain was thrilling, sharpening his focus. Vira recovered, her eyes wide with curious admiration. Here was her human, not just clever but heroic. Together, they overwhelmed Kale. She pinned his arms while Alex delivered a precise strike to his neural cluster, rendering him unconscious. Breathless, they turned back to the bomb, the timer at critical. "The crystal," Vira gasped. "It might be the override." Alex inserted it, and in a surprising twist, the device powered down, revealing logged messages. Kale wasn't alone. A consortium of rival empires had backed him, fearing the human Zorathian alliance would shift power balances. The climax peaked as alarms blared overhead, guards converging, drawn by the commotion. Vira pulled Alex close, her body pressing against his in a brief, dramatic embrace amid the chaos. "You saved us," she whispered, her lips brushing his ear, sending a shiver through him despite the peril. Blood from his wound smeared her suit, a mark of their shared battle. But curiosity lingered. What secrets did the crystal hold? Who else plotted in the stars? They fled the understructure hand in hand, bursting into the palace halls where loyal forces met them. The thrilling escape culminated in the grand atrium, auroras blazing outside as Vira commanded her guards to secure Kale. Alex stood beside her, wounded but unbowed, the crowd of awakening courtiers gasping at the sight. In that moment, the galaxy shifted. Humans weren't just survivors, they were saviors, lovers who turned doom to dawn. Yet as Medix tended his arm, Vira's touch lingered on his shoulder, her violet eyes promising more. The data crystal burned in his pocket, a curious harbinger of greater threats. The drama wasn't over, it had only escalated, surprising even them with the depth of their bond. Whispers spread through the court, the princess and her human consort, forged in fire, ready to conquer whatever came next. As the first light of Zorath's suns pierced the windows, illuminating Vira's ethereal form, Alex felt a surge of thrilling anticipation. Their love, born in an arena and tempered in shadows, was a force that could redefine empires. But hidden in the crystal's depths lay a message that would shatter illusions of voice from Earth's own shadows, hinting at betrayals closer to home. As the sun's rays bathed the grand atrium in a warm, ethereal light, Vira stood tall beside Alex, her hand subtly grazing his uninjured arm in a gesture that spoke volumes to those who knew where to look. The courtiers milled about, their whispers a dramatic undercurrent to the Chaos Guards hauling the limp form of Lord Kale away in energy cuffs, medics swarming Alex with scanners that hummed like curious insects. His wound, a jagged tear from Kale's claws, stung fiercely, but the pain was overshadowed by the weight of the data crystal in his pocket, its secrets pulsing like a second heartbeat. Vira's violet eyes darted between him and the assembling council, her white hair slightly tousled from the underground scuffle, giving her an air of wild beauty that only heightened the drama unfolding. "We must analyze that crystal immediately," she said, her voice a commanding melody that cut through the murmurs. "If Earth's shadows are involved, this alliance could crumble before it begins." Alex nodded, wincing as a medic applied a regenerative gel that fizzed against his skin, sealing the gash with a cool, tingling sensation. The atrium's vast dome amplified every sound: the clank of armor, the gasp of onlookers turning the scene into a theater of intrigue. But as they moved toward the secure analysis chamber, an awkward interruption barged in like an uninvited guest. A cluster of Zorathian nobles, led by the pompous Lady Nyra, whose own pointed ears were adorned with glittering jewels that clinked annoyingly with every step. "Your Highness!" she exclaimed, her tone dripping with feigned concern, eyes flicking to Alex with barely concealed disdain. "This human has brought turmoil to our sacred halls. And now, rumors fly of your closeness. Is it true he entered the ritual not for the throne, but for your affections?" Vira stiffened, her pale cheeks flushing a delicate lavender, a telltale sign of embarrassment in her species that Alex had only recently learned to recognize. The drama escalated as the crowd hushed, hanging on every word. Alex, still half-dressed in his torn fatigues, felt the spotlight burn hotter than Zorath's suns. "Lady Nyra," Vira replied coolly, but there was a hitch in her voice. "The ritual was won fairly. As for affections, that's a matter for the stars, not court gossip." Alex couldn't help but chuckle inwardly at the absurdity. Here he was, a diplomat from a backwater planet, caught in an alien soap opera. To lighten the moment, he interjected with a wry grin. "Well, if affections include dodging bombs and wrestling draconians, then guilty as charged. But hey, on Earth, we call that a first date." The nobles blinked in confusion, their elf-like ears twitching as if trying to process the humor. Lady Nyra's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water, and a ripple of awkward laughter spread through the less stuffy courtiers, human wit clashing hilariously with Zorathian decorum. Vira shot him a sidelong glance, her lips twitching in suppressed amusement, but the drama pressed on. They pushed through the throng, entering the analysis chamber, a sleek room lined with holographic consoles that whirred to life at Vira's command. The door sealed with a hiss, shutting out the prying eyes but not the tension. Alone again, Vira activated the crystal interface, her fingers trembling slightly as she inserted the device. "If this implicates your people," she said, her voice dropping to a dramatic whisper, "what then? Our bond, it's fragile, Alex." The hologram flickered to life, projecting a ghostly figure, a human, cloaked in shadows, his features obscured but his voice unmistakably Terran, laced with a cold ambition that sent chills down Alex's spine. "The Zorathian alliance is key," the voice intoned, "but the princess must be persuaded. Use the suitor ritual as cover. If the diplomat fails, eliminate him." The message looped, revealing coordinates for a hidden Earth outpost on Zorath's moon, where covert operatives plotted to manipulate the Empire for resource gains. Drama peaked as Vira's eyes widened in betrayal, her hand flying to her mouth. "Your own kind? They sent you as bait?" Alex's heart sank, the awkward truth hitting like a plasma blast. He stepped closer, his bandaged arm brushing hers. "I swear I didn't know. Earth's council, they're divided. Some want peace, others see Zorath as a prize." Humor crept in to diffuse the heaviness. He rubbed his neck sheepishly. "Guess I'm the universe's worst spy. Can't even spot a double cross in my own backyard." Vira's laughter bubbled up unexpectedly, a melodic trill that eased the tension, her body relaxing against the console. "You humans and your self-deprecation, it's oddly charming." But the moment turned awkward as the hologram glitched, revealing a sub-file intimate surveillance footage of their night together, captured by a hidden drone. Vera's pale skin turned a deeper shade of lavender, her ears pinning back in mortification. They watched us? Alex's face heated, the drama mingling with embarrassment as snippets played her moans, his whispers before he slammed the shutdown command. Okay, that's beyond creepy. Note to self check for spy cams next time where you know. He waggled his eyebrows comically, trying to inject humor into the mortifying reveal, and Vera covered her face with her hands, groaning. This is humiliating. The council will see this as weakness. Heightening the drama, an alert blared incoming transmission from the moon outpost, demanding status on the Persuasion. Vera's resolve hardened, her warrior spirit flaring. We end this now. We'll infiltrate the outpost, expose them. Alex agreed, but the plan spiraled into awkward hilarity as they prepared. In the armory, Vera fitted him with Zorathian stealth gear, a form-hugging suit that enhanced agility but squeezed in all the wrong places. This thing's riding up, he grumbled, adjusting it comically while hopping on one foot, eliciting a genuine laugh from Vera. You look like a fledgling warrior trying to impress. Her own outfit, a sleek variant that accentuated her curves, made him pause, the attraction undeniable even amid peril. And you look distracting, he admitted, the words tumbling out awkwardly, heightening the romantic tension. They boarded a cloaked shuttle, the launch dramatic under the cover of a simulated storm, winds howling, lightning cracking as if the planet itself protested the betrayal. En route, confined in the tight cockpit, awkward situations piled on Vera's tail, a subtle, prehensile appendage he'd only glimpsed before brushed his leg accidentally, sending a jolt through him. Sorry, she muttered, ears flushing. It's reflexive when I'm nervous. Alex chuckled. Hey, on Earth, we'd call that flirting. But seriously, does it have a mind of its own? Her explanation turned into a humorous tangent about Zorathian biology, lightening the mood as stars streaked by. Yet drama lurked. The outpost loomed, a fortified dome on the barren moon, guarded by automated turrets and human-alien hybrids loyal to the rogue faction. Infiltrating proved thrillingly chaotic. They slipped through a maintenance hatch, Vera's grace contrasting Alex's clumsy crawl, his boot catching on a grate, nearly alerting a patrol. Sheesh, she hissed, pulling him into a vent, their bodies pressed together in the cramped space. The awkward proximity, her breath on his neck, the heat of her form stirred memories of their passion, but humor struck when a dust bunny tickled his nose, forcing a muffled sneeze. Great, now we're the galaxy's worst ninjas, he whispered, and Vera stifled a giggle, her hand over his mouth. Deeper in, they accessed the command center, drama exploding as they confronted the lead operative, a stern woman named Captain Zara, her face hardening at the sight of Alex. Thorne? You were supposed to secure the princess, not fall for her. Revelations poured out. Earth's council had sanctioned the plot to mine Zorath's rare crystals, seeing Vera as a pawn. Vera's fury ignited, her blade drawn in a flash, but Zara laughed bitterly. You think this ends here? The fleet's en route. Alarms wailed, heightening the stakes, reinforcements descending. In the ensuing skirmish, awkward humor blended with drama. Alex dodged a laser blast, tripping over a cable and accidentally activating a holographic decoy that projected dancing Zorathian performers, confusing the guards. What the? One yelped, buying them time. Vera fought fiercely, her movements a ballet of lethality, white hair flowing as she disarmed foes. Alex, using his strategist wits, hacked a turret to turn on the attackers, quipping, "Take that, you backstabbing bots." He subdued Zara, but the fleet's shadow darkened the moon's horizon, dozens of ships blinking into view. Trapped, Vera pulled Alex into a side room for a desperate plan. We broadcast the evidence, expose them to both empires. As consoles flickered, the awkward intimacy returned, leaning close to input codes, her ear brushed his cheek, sending sparks. Focus, she teased, but her voice held a dramatic edge. Humor lightened it. If we survive, I owe you a proper date, no bombs, no spies. He grinned, deal. But only if it includes that tail thing. The broadcast went live, beaming the crystal's secrets across frequencies, Earth's betrayal laid bare. Chaos erupted in the stars, loyal Earth forces intercepting the rogues, Zorathian reinforcements arriving in a blaze of glory. Drama climaxed as the outpost shook from impacts, Vera and Alex racing to the shuttle amid collapsing corridors. They escaped by a thread, the moon's surface cratering behind them. Back on Zorath, landing amid cheers, the awkward aftermath unfolded in the palace. Council members bombarded them with questions, Lady Nyra sputtering about impropriety, but Vira silenced her with a dramatic declaration, "This human is my equal, my partner." Alex, bandaged and battered, added humorously, "And her official bomb diffuser." Laughter echoed, easing the tension. Yet, as they retreated to quarters, drama lingered. The alliance strengthened, but trust fragile. Vira drew him close, her body fitting against his. "We've weathered storms," she murmured, her tail wrapping around his waist playfully. Alex laughed, "Yeah, but next time, let's skip the awkward family reunions." Their kiss sealed the chapter, passion reigniting amid the humor and heightened stakes, promising more adventures in the vast, unpredictable galaxy. As their laughter faded into the quiet intimacy of Vira's quarters, the kiss deepened, transforming from a seal of survival into a fervent expression of the bond they'd forged through fire and betrayal. The palace lights dimmed automatically, sensing the shift in the room's energy, casting a soft, ambient glow that danced across Vira's pale skin like distant stars. Her tail, that playful extension of her emotions, tightened gently around Alex's waist, pulling him closer until there was no space left between them. He could feel the warmth of her body through the thin fabric of her robe, the subtle curves that had captivated him since their first encounter in the arena. "No more interruptions," she whispered against his lips, her violet eyes locking onto his with an intensity that made his pulse race. Alex nodded, his hands sliding up her arms, tracing the smooth contours of her shoulders as he untied the sash of her robe, letting it fall open like an invitation to unexplored worlds. The air between them grew heavy with anticipation, charged with the remnants of their adventures, the adrenaline from the moon outpost still lingering, heightening every sensation. Vira's robe slipped to the floor in a whisper of silk, revealing her fully to him once more, the elegant swell of her hips, the gentle rise of her chest, and those luminescent tattoos that pulsed faintly with her quickening breath. She was a masterpiece of alien allure, her pointed ears flushing with a soft lavender hue that signaled her growing desire. Alex's breath caught as he took her in, his own clothing feeling suddenly restrictive. He shed his tunic and pants with hurried grace, exposing the lean lines of his human form, marked by the fresh scars of their battles, reminders of how far they'd come together. Her hands explored him first, fingers trailing down his chest, feeling the rhythm of his heartbeat, so different from her own dual pulse system, yet sinking in this moment of shared vulnerability. They moved to the bed, a vast expanse of hovering cushions that conformed to their bodies like a loving embrace. Vira guided him down with her, her tail uncoiling from his waist only to brush teasingly along his thigh, sending shivers through him. "Let me show you the depths of Zorathian connection," she murmured, her voice a sultry melody that wrapped around him like velvet. She straddled him gently, her weight a perfect pressure, her white hair cascading over them like a curtain of starlight. Alex's hands found her waist, pulling her closer, his lips tracing a path from her collarbone to the sensitive tip of one ear. She gasped softly at the contact, her body arching in response, a reaction he'd learned drove her wild, amplifying the intimacy between them. The way her skin warmed under his touch, glowing subtly, was mesmerizing, as if her very essence responded to him in ways no words could capture. Their movements began slow, exploratory, building on the trust they'd earned. Vira's hips shifted against his, creating a friction that ignited sparks of pleasure, her breaths coming in rhythmic waves that matched the undulating lights in the room. Alex met her pace, his hands roaming higher to cup her breasts, feeling the softness yield to his gentle pressure, her nipples hardening under his thumbs in a way that drew a low moan from her. The sound was music to him, encouraging him to deepen their connection. She leaned down, capturing his mouth in a kiss that was both tender and demanding, her tongue dancing with his in a rhythm that mirrored the growing urgency below. As she positioned herself above him, guiding him into her warmth, the sensation was overwhelming, a perfect union of differences, her inner heat enveloping him completely, drawing him in with a silken grip that made stars burst behind his eyes. Time seemed to stretch in that sacred space, each thrust a declaration of their alliance, blending the raw passion of survivors with the gentle exploration of lovers. Vira's tail wrapped around his leg, adding an extra layer of sensation, its tip caressing his calf in time with their movements. She rode him with graceful control, her body rising and falling like ocean waves on Zorath's distant shores, her violet eyes never leaving his, conveying emotions words couldn't touch: gratitude, desire, a hint of possessiveness that thrilled him. Alex's hands gripped her hips, helping guide the pace, feeling the play of her muscles under his palms, toned from years of warrior training yet yielding to him now in this private dance. The pleasure built gradually, a crescendo of shared breaths and soft cries, her luminescent tattoos brightening with each peak, illuminating their entwined forms in a soft, ethereal light. He flipped her beneath him with a careful twist, wanting to take the lead, to show her the human side of intimacy: patient, attentive, focused on her every response. Vira's legs wrapped around his waist, pulling him deeper, her nails grazing his back lightly, leaving trails of tingling warmth rather than marks. Yes, she breathed, her voice husky with need, like that: show me more. Alex obliged, his movements deliberate, thrusting with a rhythm that built tension like a gathering storm. He kissed her neck, nipping gently at the base of her ear, eliciting shudders that rippled through her body, her inner walls clenching around him in waves of delight. The connection was profound, not just physical but emotional. The way she whispered his name, Alex, like a prayer, made him feel invincible, a true partner in her world. As the intensity grew, their bodies slick with a fine sheen of exertion, Vira's hands clutched at the sheets, her back arching to meet him fully. The room filled with the soft sounds of their union, the whisper of skin on skin, the harmonious mingling of their moans, the subtle hum of the palace's energy fields responding to their elevated pulses. Alex felt her approaching the edge first, her breaths quickening, her tail tightening around him in involuntary spasms. He adjusted his angle, focusing on that spot he'd discovered during their earlier nights, drawing out her pleasure until she shattered around him, her body trembling in release, a soft cry escaping her lips that echoed like music in the chamber. The sight of her eyes fluttering, lips parted, skin aglow pushed him over the brink, his own climax surging through him in powerful waves, filling her with warmth as they rode the crest together. In the aftermath, they lay entangled, breaths slowing in unison, her head resting on his chest as she listened to his single heartbeat, a sound she'd come to cherish as uniquely his. Vira's tail draped lazily over his hip, a contented curl that spoke of satisfaction. That was beyond the stars, she said softly, tracing patterns on his skin with her finger, her violet eyes shining with a mix of fulfillment and affection. Alex smiled, kissing the top of her head, feeling the delicate point of her ear brush his lips. And we're just getting started, he replied, his voice warm with promise. The intimacy had deepened their bond, weaving their essences closer, but even in this blissful haze, the galaxy's whispers intruded subtly, a faint chime from her communicator, ignored for now, hinting at unresolved threads from the crystal's revelations. They lingered in the glow, exploring further with tender touches, her fingers mapping the contours of his body, discovering new sensitivities, while he lavished attention on her ears and the curve of her neck, drawing out aftershocks of pleasure that made her giggle softly, a rare, melodic sound that lightened his heart. The night unfolded in cycles of closeness, their bodies coming together again in variations of passion side by side, her leg draped over his, allowing for deeper, slower connections that built emotional layers atop the physical, or with her on top once more, controlling the tempo with a warrior's precision, her white hair swaying like a banner of their unity. Each encounter was a revelation, blending the exotic differences of their species, her glowing responses, his enduring stamina into a harmonious whole that left them both sated and yearning for more. As dawn's light began to filter through the windows, painting her pale form in golden hues, Vira nestled closer, her tail entwining with his leg in a possessive hold. In Zorathian lore, such unions bind souls across the cosmos, she confided, her voice laced with wonder. Alex held her tight, feeling the steady rise and fall of her breathing, the warmth of her against him, an anchor in the vast universe. On Earth we call it love, he said simply, the word hanging between them like a new star being born. Yet, as they drifted toward sleep, the ignored communicator chimed again, more insistently, a reminder that their passion, while a sanctuary, existed within a web of interstellar politics. The alliance they'd strengthened through body and spirit would soon face new tests, but for now, in this cocoon of shared ecstasy, they were unbreakable. The hours blurred in their private world, with moments of playful exploration adding lightness to the depth. Vira's curiosity about human endurance leading to extended embraces where they tested limits with gentle insistence, her moans turning to laughter when fatigue set in, only to reignite with a single touch. Alex marveled at her responsiveness, the way her body seemed attuned to his every move, her inner glow intensifying during peaks, bathing them in a soft violet aura that enhanced the sensory experience. Their final union of the night was slow, languid, a celebration of survival and connection, ending in mutual release that left them whispering promises into the quiet. Exhausted but content, they finally succumbed to rest, bodies intertwined, dreams weaving visions of futures among the stars. But the galaxy waited, its dramas poised to intrude once more, testing the resilience of their newfound intimacy. As the insistent chime of the communicator pierced the tranquil haze of their rest, Vira stirred first, her body shifting against Alex's with a reluctant sigh. Her tail, still draped over him in lazy contentment, uncoiled slowly as she reached for the device on the bedside console, its screen glowing with an urgent amber hue. Alex propped himself up on one elbow, his muscles aching pleasantly from their night of connection, watching her with a fond smile that masked the subtle wariness creeping back in. The galaxy's demands never truly slept, and after the betrayals they'd uncovered, every alert felt like a potential storm on the horizon. Ignore it a little longer, he suggested half-jokingly, his hand tracing idle circles on her bare back, feeling the faint pulse of her tattoos fading to a soft afterglow. Vira glanced at him, her violet eyes reflecting a mix of amusement and resolve, her white hair tousled in a way that made her look vulnerably human despite her ethereal features. "Tempting, my strategist," she replied, her voice still husky from their shared whispers, but duty whispers louder than desire sometimes. She activated the holographic interface, and the room filled with the projected image of her chief advisor, an elderly Zorathian named Aurel, his pointed ears drooping slightly with age, his expression etched with grave concern. "Your Highness," Aurel began, his melodic tone edged with urgency, "forgive the intrusion, but the data crystal you retrieved, our analysts have decoded the deeper layers. There's more than we anticipated. You must come to the war room at once. And bring the human." The words hung in the air like a charged particle, snapping the lingering intimacy into sharp focus. Alex felt a knot form in his stomach, the warmth of their union cooling under the weight of impending revelation. Vira's hand tightened on the communicator, her pale skin paling further, but she nodded curtly. "We're on our way." As the hologram flickered out, she turned to him, her tail flicking restlessly, a sign of inner turmoil he'd come to recognize. "This could change everything," she said softly, rising from the bed with fluid grace, her nude form catching the dawn light in a way that momentarily distracted him. But the seriousness in her eyes pulled him back. They dressed quickly, the awkward haste a stark contrast to the languid undressing of hours before, Alex slipping into fresh fatigues, Vira donning a flowing tunic that hugged her curves yet screamed authority. The palace corridors, bathed in the soft morning glow of Zorath's auroras filtering through crystal panes, felt longer than usual as they hurried toward the war room. Guards saluted crisply, but Alex caught the subtle glances, curiosity mixed with newfound respect, after the outpost takedown. Vira's presence beside him was a comforting anchor, her hand brushing his occasionally, a silent reassurance amid the building tension. "Whatever it is," he murmured as they approached the fortified doors, "we face it together. Like the arena, like the bomb." She squeezed his fingers, her pointed ears perking slightly. "Like everything since you stepped into my world." The war room was a hive of controlled chaos, holographic maps swirling with star systems, analysts hunched over consoles, the air humming with data streams. Aurel greeted them at the central table, his robes rustling as he gestured to a magnified projection of the crystal's contents. "The surface layers exposed the Earth faction's plot," he explained, his voice steady but laced with drama, "but the encrypted core, it's a message within a message. Not just betrayal, a prophecy, of sorts." Vira leaned in, her violet eyes narrowing, while Alex stood close, his strategist mind already dissecting the implications. The hologram expanded, revealing layers of code peeling away like onion skins, unveiling a video feed stamped with a timestamp from decades ago. The figure that materialized was no rogue operative, but a human elderly, with a face that struck Alex like a thunderbolt. It was his own, but aged, weathered by years he hadn't lived. Impossible, Alex breathed, stepping closer, his heart pounding. The man in the hologram spoke with his voice, but deeper, resonant with authority. If you're seeing this, Alex Thorne, then the plan has reached phase 3. You're not just a diplomat, you're the key. Implanted memories, engineered biology. Humanity's greatest weapon against the Zorathian threat. Vira gasped, her hand flying to her mouth, but Alex froze, the world tilting on its axis. The twist hit like a supernova, surprising, shattering. He wasn't fully human. The hologram continued, the older Alex explaining in chilling detail Earth's council, fearing Zorathian expansion, had created hybrids, human minds in bodies augmented with alien tech, sleeper agents designed to infiltrate and dismantle empires from within. Your victory in the ritual was programmed, the voice intoned. Your strategies, your adaptability enhanced by Zorathian DNA harvested from past skirmishes. Vira was the target, her throne the prize. But if you've bonded, recalibrate. Use the connection to strike. The room spun for Alex, memories flashing, childhood on Earth, diplomatic training, all feeling suddenly artificial, like echoes in a void. This can't be, he muttered, turning to Vira, whose expression had shifted from shock to something unreadable, her tail lashing behind her. Aurel interjected, the crystal confirms it. Bioscans from your arrival match subtle anomalies we dismissed as human variants. You're part Zorathian. The surprise deepened, Alex reeled, grasping the table for support. How could he not know? The powerful revelation tore at the fabric of his identity, making every moment with Vira feel tainted. Had their passion been genuine, or a coded directive buried in his subconscious? Vira stepped back, her pale face a mask of conflict, ears pinned flat against her head. Did you know? She demanded, her voice cracking with betrayal, the drama escalating as analysts exchanged uneasy glances. Alex shook his head vehemently, the twist unraveling him. No, I swear, this is as much a surprise to me as but doubt crept in, flashes of intuition in the arena, the effortless sync with her biology during their intimacies, had it all been engineered. The hologram looped a final warning, activate Protocol Omega when the time comes. For humanity. It faded, leaving silence thick as interstellar dust. Chaos erupted softly, Aurel ordering deeper scans, guards subtly positioning themselves. Vira approached Alex cautiously, her hand hovering near his arm, torn between love and suspicion. If this is true, she whispered, her violet eyes searching his, then who are you, really? My partner or my undoing? The surprise lingered, a powerful undercurrent that reshaped everything. Alex felt a strange energy stir within him, perhaps the augmentation awakening, heightening his senses, making colors sharper, Vira's scent more intoxicating. I don't know, he admitted, the honesty raw. But whatever I am, my feelings for you, they're real. I choose us. Yet the twist demanded action. Alarms blared suddenly, Earth's rogue fleet, emboldened by the exposed plot, jumping into Zorath's system earlier than anticipated. Incoming vessels, an analyst shouted, holograms blooming with red icons. Vira's resolve hardened, but her gaze on Alex held the weight of uncertainty. We defend our world, she declared, then softer, to him and uncover your truth. They moved to command positions, the surprise fueling a new urgency. Alex's mind raced, strategies unfolding with unnatural clarity, the hybrid edge revealing itself. As battleships loomed on the viewscreens, he accessed a hidden implant subconsciously, pulling up tactical overlays no human should have. The engagement began with dramatic flair, Zorathian defenses, firing plasma arcs that lit the void like fireworks, Earth's ships dodging with agile maneuvers. Vira commanded from the bridge simulacrum, her tunic billowing as she gestured commands, her warrior essence shining. Alex, beside her, suggested flanking maneuvers that surprised even Aurel, predictions bordering on precognition. How did you know their formation? Vira asked amid the chaos, her tail brushing his leg instinctively. The twist deepened. Alex felt layers peeling back, memories surfacing, not his, but echoes of Zorathian warriors long gone. It's coming to me, he confessed, the surprise twisting further, as he realized his programming included absorbed consciousnesses, making him a vessel for lost souls. A direct hit rocked the palace, shields flaring. In the turmoil, Alex saved Vira from falling debris, his strength augmented beyond human limits, lifting a beam with ease. Her eyes widened in fresh surprise. You're more than they made you, she said, pulling him into a fierce embrace amid the shaking room. The powerful revelation bonded them anew, not despite the twist, but because of it. Humanity's attempt to weaponize him had backfired. The Zorathian essence within rebelled, aligning with her. As the battle raged, they coordinated a counterstrike, Alex hacking enemy comms with innate codes, revealing the fleet's weak point, a cloaked command ship. Zorathian fighters swarmed, explosions blooming in silent space. Victory neared, but the twist's shadow loomed, Alex's implant pulsing with a final directive: self-destruct if compromised. He fought it internally, sweat beading, Vira noticing his struggle. Fight it, she urged, her hand on his chest, feeling the dual heartbeat awakening. In a surge of will, he overrode it, the surprise culminating in his full awakening, not a pawn, but a bridge between worlds. The fleet retreated, shattered. In the war room's aftermath, Vira turned to him, the powerful twist transforming suspicion to awe. "You're one of us and more." Alex nodded, the surprise settling into acceptance. Their kiss, amid the cheers of analysts, sealed a new reality: human ingenuity fused with Zorathian spirit, a hybrid force unstoppable. But whispers of greater conspiracies echoed. The crystal hinted at ancient progenitors who engineered such unions eons ago. As they stood together, overlooking the calming auroras, Alex felt whole for the first time. The twist had surprised them all, but in its wake, their love emerged stronger, a beacon against the stars' endless mysteries. As the auroras settled into a gentle shimmer outside the war room's panoramic viewport, casting ethereal patterns across the floor like whispers from the cosmos, Alex and Vira lingered in that shared moment of revelation, their hands clasped in a grip that felt both anchoring and electric. The hybrid truth of his existence still hummed through him like an awakening symphony, blending human resolve with Zorathian instincts in ways that made every breath feel amplified, every glance from her violet eyes a profound connection. But the galaxy, ever the relentless storyteller, didn't allow for long pauses. A subtle vibration from Vira's command bracer interrupted the quiet, pulling them back into the fray. "Incoming delegation," she murmured, her tail flicking with a mix of anticipation and weariness as she checked the alert. "Earth's loyal council arriving to negotiate reparations for the rogue faction's actions. This could seal our alliance or unravel it." Alex nodded, feeling the augmented clarity in his mind sharpen his thoughts, but a knot of drama tightened in his chest. What if his newfound heritage made him a liability in their eyes? They moved toward the docking bays, the palace's corridors now bustling with post-battle activity, technicians repairing shield emitters, courtiers exchanging hushed theories about the hybrid hero. Vira's presence commanded respect, her tunic flowing like liquid starlight, but Alex caught the awkward stares, some admiring, others wary, as if wondering if his partial Zorathian blood made him more ally or anomaly. Humor crept in when a young guard, fumbling his salute, blurted, "Highness, and hybrid Lord Thorne?" Alex chuckled, rubbing his neck. "Just Alex is fine. Hybrid Lord sounds like a bad sci-fi villain." Vira's lips quirked, her pointed ears twitching in amusement, easing the tension as they entered the bay. The Earth delegation's shuttle touched down with a dramatic hiss of thrusters, its hull scarred from the recent skirmish, heightening the stakes as armored doors slid open. Out stepped Ambassador Leo, a stern figure with salt and pepper hair and a uniform crisp enough to cut glass, flanked by aides carrying data slates. His eyes locked on Alex immediately, narrowing in appraisal. "Thorne," he said, his voice booming across the bay, "reports say you've gone native literally. Care to explain how a standard diplomat turned into a Zorathian powerhouse overnight?" The drama escalated as the aides whispered, scanning him with handheld devices that beeped inquisitively. Vira stepped forward protectively, her tail brushing Alex's leg, a subtle claim that didn't go unnoticed. "Ambassador, your rogue elements nearly destroyed us. Let's focus on peace, not probes." But awkwardness piled on like an ill-timed comedy sketch when one aide, a nervous young woman named Mira, thrust a scanner too close to Alex's face. "Sir, your vitals are off the charts, dual heartbeat. Elevated neural activity? It's like you're part alien." She blushed furiously, realizing the insensitivity, and Alex couldn't help but laugh. "Yeah, turns out my family tree has some extraterrestrial branches. Who knew? Mom always said I was special." Guess she meant literally. The group tittered uneasily, but Leo's expression remained grave, heightening the drama as he gestured to a private conference chamber. "We talk, now?" Alone with the princess, of course. The chamber was a neutral ground of polished obsidian and holographic displays, but the air thickened with tension as they seated themselves around a levitating table. Leo leaned forward, steepling his fingers. The council disavows the rogues, but your transformation raises questions. Were you aware of the implantation, and does it compromise your loyalty? Vira's hand found Alex's under the table, her grip firm, but the awkward probe into his identity made him shift uncomfortably. I swear, Ambassador, it was a surprise to me too. One minute I'm dodging blades in an arena, the next I'm overriding self-destruct codes like some cosmic hacker. If anything, it's made me more committed to both worlds. Humor lightened the moment when Mira, trying to diffuse, offered, well sir, think of it as an upgrade. Humans 2.0 now with elf ears compatibility? Vira's ears flushed lavender, and she shot Mira a playful glare. Careful human. Those elf ears hear everything. Drama heightened as Leo activated a hologram, projecting classified files schematics of the hybrid program, dating back to first contact skirmishes. You were one of dozens sleepers placed in key positions. But you're the first to awaken fully and ally with the enemy. His tone dripped suspicion, the awkward implication hanging, was Alex a success or a glitch? Vira's tail lashed, coiling around Alex's ankle in a possessive hold that sent a subtle thrill through him, but also made him acutely aware of the cross-species intimacy on display. Leo noticed, his eyebrow arching. And the personal alliance? That's not in the briefs. Alex felt heat rise to his cheeks, the situation turning comically awkward as he stammered, well, winning the ritual duel came with perks. Let's just say we've bridged more than diplomatic gaps. Mira snorted, covering her mouth, while Vira squeezed his hand harder, her own embarrassment adding to the drama. The negotiations dragged on, stakes rising with each revelation. Leo demanded access to Alex's implant data for verification, heightening the drama as Vira vetoed it fiercely. He's not your experiment anymore, he's mine. The possessiveness in her voice sent a wave of warmth through Alex, but the awkward tug-of-war made him feel like a prized artifact. Humor struck when an aide accidentally projected a snippet of the crystal's intimate surveillance, their passionate embrace flickering briefly before being shut down. Wrong file. Mara yelped, fumbling the controls, her face tomato red. Alex buried his head in his hands, groaning. Great, now the whole delegation's seen my moves. Anyone got popcorn for this interstellar rom-com? Laughter broke the ice, even Leo cracking a smile, but the underlying drama persisted. Trust was fragile, and one wrong word could shatter the peace. As concessions flew, Earth offering tech reparations, Zorath sharing crystal resources, the awkward situations multiplied. During a break, Mira pulled Alex aside, whispering conspiratorially, so, what's it like, the tail thing? Her curiosity was innocent but mortifying, heightening the personal drama. Alex coughed, glancing at Vira across the room. Classified. But let's say it's versatile. Mira giggled, but Vira's enhanced hearing caught it, her ears perking as she shot him an amused yet warning look, adding humor to the mix. Behave, hybrid, she teased later, her tail playfully swatting his arm. Drama peaked when Leo revealed a final bombshell: the rogue faction hadn't fully retreated. A splinter group hid in Zorath's asteroid belt, plotting a kamikaze strike on the palace. We need your hybrid edge to stop them, he admitted grudgingly. Vira's eyes flashed with resolve, but the awkward reliance on Alex, now seen as a tool by his own people, stung. He's not a weapon, she snapped, her hand on his shoulder. Alex stood, feeling the augmented power surge. But I can be for us. They mobilized, the delegation joining a hasty strategy session that blended human tactics with Zorathian flair. In the command shuttle racing toward the asteroids, tension crackled like static. Vira piloted with expert grace, her white hair tied back, while Alex interfaced with the systems using his implant, predicting enemy moves with eerie accuracy. Awkward humor arose when the shuttle hit turbulence, jostling everyone, Mira tumbling into Leo's lap. Sir, sorry, she squeaked, scrambling up as the ambassador grumbled, focus, ensign, this isn't a joyride. Alex smirked at Vira. Reminds me of our first date, dodging death and all. She laughed, the sound cutting through the drama, her tail wrapping around his seat for stability. The confrontation unfolded dramatically. The splinter ships ambushed them in the belt's shadowy craters, lasers streaking like comets. Vira evaded with acrobatic maneuvers, while Alex hacked their shields, turning the tide. But in a heart-stopping twist, a rogue vessel targeted their shuttle directly, forcing an emergency boarding. Inside the enemy craft, chaos reigned. Alex and Vira fighting side by side, his hybrid strength matching her agility. An awkward moment hit when a foe recognized him, the hybrid traitor. Alex quipped mid-punch, "Traitor? Nah, just upgraded my allegiance. Perks include better company." Vira rolled her eyes, dispatching another with a fluid strike. "Save the jokes for after we win." They subdued the leader, a fanatic human spouting propaganda, heightening the emotional drama as Alex confronted his origins. "You made me this way," he said, voice steady, "but I choose my path." The surrender broadcast rippled through the system, solidifying peace. Back on Zorath, the delegation sealed the treaty amid cheers, but awkward farewells lingered. Leo clasping Alex's hand. "You're a bridge, son. Don't burn it." Mira hugged Vira impulsively, whispering, "Take care of him and teach me about that tale someday." Vira's lavender flush returned, humor closing the chapter. As night fell, Alex and Vira retreated to her quarters, the drama of the day melting into quiet intimacy. "We did it," she said, her body pressing close. He kissed her, feeling whole. "Yeah, but next time let's negotiate over dinner, no asteroids." Their laughter echoed, a light amid the stars, but whispers of ancient progenitors loomed, promising more twists in their cosmic tale. As the echoes of their laughter faded into the soft hum of the palace's evening ambience, Vira and Alex found themselves once more in the sanctuary of her quarters, the vast windows framing a canvas of Zorath's auroras that swirled like living art across the night sky. The day's dramas, the tense negotiations, the chaotic skirmish in the asteroids, the lingering awkwardness of cross-species alliances seemed to melt away in the familiar warmth of the room, where cushions still bore the faint impressions of their earlier passions. Vira leaned against him, her head resting on his shoulder, her white hair spilling over his chest like a cascade of moonlight. Her tail wrapped loosely around his waist, a gentle hold that had become as natural as breathing, symbolizing the unbreakable thread weaving their lives together. "We've navigated stars and betrayals," she said softly, her violet eyes reflecting the dancing lights outside. "But this peace, it feels earned, doesn't it?" Alex nodded, his fingers tracing lazy patterns along her arm, feeling the subtle glow of her tattoos respond to his touch, a quiet affirmation of their connection. The hybrid revelations had shifted everything, yet in this moment, they grounded him more than ever. He was no longer just a human diplomat or a engineered pawn, he was hers, a fusion of worlds that had found harmony in chaos. "It does," he replied, his voice carrying a depth enriched by his awakened heritage. "And with the treaty signed, Earth's council pulling back their shadows, maybe we can finally look forward instead of over our shoulders." The weight of the ancient progenitor's whispers lingered in his mind, hints from the crystal about long-lost creators who had seeded such hybrids across the galaxy, but for now, he pushed them aside. Those mysteries could wait, tonight was for them. They settled onto the bed, the hovering platform adjusting to their combined weight with a soft sigh, enveloping them in comfort. Vira turned to face him, her pointed ears framing her face in that ethereal way that still stole his breath. "Tell me," she murmured, propping herself up on one elbow, her curvaceous form outlined by the aurora's glow filtering through the translucent panes. "In your human tales, how do stories like ours end? With grand battles won, or quiet promises under the stars?" Alex smiled, pulling her closer until their bodies aligned perfectly, the warmth of her pale skin against his a reminder of how far they'd come from that fateful arena duel. "A bit of both," he said, his hand cupping her cheek. "But the best ones end with hope, with two souls choosing each other, no matter the cosmos chaos." As if on cue, a soft chime from the console announced an incoming message, but Vera silenced it with a wave, her focus solely on him. "No more interruptions," she declared, her voice a melodic command laced with affection. She leaned in, their lips meeting in a kiss that started tender, but deepened with the familiarity of lovers who had faced death together. Her hands explored his chest, feeling the dual heartbeat that now mirrored her own, a poetic symmetry born from science and fate. Alex responded in kind, his touch reverent as he traced the curve of her hip, the elegant line of her spine, marveling at how her body seemed designed to fit his. The intimacy unfolded naturally, a culmination of their journey, slow caresses that built to passionate embraces, her tail entwining with his leg in rhythmic harmony, their breaths mingling in shared ecstasy. It wasn't just physical, it was a reaffirmation, a silent vow that transcended species and secrets. In the afterglow, as they lay entwined, Vira's head on his chest, listening to the synced pulses of their hearts, she spoke of the future with a quiet optimism that warmed him. The Empire will thrive with this alliance, she said, her fingers interlacing with his, Earth's innovations blending with Zorathian wisdom, new ships, shared knowledge, perhaps even colonies where hybrids like you aren't anomalies, but bridges. Alex envisioned it, children with pointed ears and human curiosity, exploring stars without the shadows of old wars. And us, he asked, kissing her forehead, ruling side by side, turning rituals into celebrations. She laughed softly, the sound like tinkling crystals. Or escaping to some distant moon for a while, just you, me, and the void. The night deepened, and they shared stories under the aurora's watchful gaze. Vira recounted legends of her ancestors, fierce warriors who had tamed Zorath's wild storms, their blades singing through tempests much like hers had in the arena. Alex countered with Earth's myths, heroes who defied gods, lovers who crossed oceans of time. The parallels wove a tapestry of their own epic, a human who entered the ring as a stranger and emerged as a savior, an alien princess whose unyielding heart found its match in unexpected cunning. Humor slipped in as Alex mimicked Lady Nyra's pompous tone from earlier negotiations, eliciting giggles from Vira that made her ears flush lavender. And don't forget Mira's tail obsession, he teased. I think she's starting a fan club. Vira swatted him playfully, her tail flicking in mock offense. Careful, or I'll show you its full versatility again. As dawn approached, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, they rose to greet it from the balcony. The palace sprawled below, Orali's awakening with the bustle of a new era, shuttles departing with Earth's delegation, Zorathian envoys preparing for joint ventures. Vira stood regal in the light, her white hair catching the rays like a crown, but in Alex's arms, she was simply his partner, vulnerabilities shared and strengths amplified. The progenitor's secrets, she mused, gazing at the horizon where stars faded into day. They might call us back one day, ancient ruins, forgotten tech. Alex pulled her close. Then we'll face them together. No more surprises we can't handle. In the weeks that followed, their story unfolded like a well-crafted finale. The alliance blossomed, trade routes lit up with vessels carrying hybrid innovations, Earth's adaptive AI fused with Zorathian crystal drives, propelling ships faster than light's whisper. Alex, embracing his dual nature, became an ambassador of unity, his strategies guiding counsels through potential pitfalls with foresight that bordered on prophetic. Vira, ever the warrior princess, led explorations to uncharted sectors, her blade now a symbol of protection rather than conquest. Together, they uncovered fragments of the progenitor's legacy, ancient artifacts humming with energy that mirrored Alex's implants, hinting at a grand design where species were meant to merge, not clash. Yet amid the grandeur, it was the quiet moments that defined their ending. Stolen evenings in hidden gardens, where bioluminescent flowers bloomed in response to their laughter, diplomatic feasts where Alex's human quips lightened Zorathian formality, earning chuckles from even the sternest nobles, and nights where passion reignited, their bodies a canvas of exploration, her glowing tattoos syncing with his heartbeat in a dance of perfect union. Challenges arose, rival empires testing the new pact, internal doubters questioning the hybrid's role, but each was met with the unbreakable team they had become. Vira's council, once skeptical, now hailed Alex as a visionary, his insights preventing skirmishes before they ignited. One fateful day, as they stood on a newly colonized world, a verdant planet, bridging Earth and Zorath styles, with terraced fields under dual suns, Vira turned to him with a smile that outshone the stars. "This is our legacy," she said, her hand on her abdomen, a subtle gesture that carried worlds of meaning. Alex's eyes widened, joy surging through him like a supernova. "A child?" he whispered, pulling her into an embrace. "Our child, proof that love defies galaxies." The news spread like wildfire, uniting factions in celebration, a airborne of two worlds, symbolizing eternal peace. Years blurred into a tapestry of triumphs. Their offspring, a daughter named Ori with her mother's violet eyes and father's clever grin, ears tapered just enough to whisper of heritage, grew into a leader who expanded the alliance further, her innate abilities blending the best of both lineages. Alex and Vira, aging gracefully amid advanced tech that prolonged life, became legends. The princess who slew suitors until love outsmarted her. The human who entered the ring and claimed a universe. In their twilight, on a balcony overlooking a thriving Orales now dotted with human-inspired parks and Zorathian spires, Vira leaned on Alex, her tail entwined with his hand. "A good story," she said, echoing their long-ago conversation, "with a perfect ending." He kissed her, the Aurora's eternal witnesses. No ending, just new beginnings among the stars. And so, in the vast expanse where empires rose and fell, their bond endured, a testament to adaptability, passion, and the unyielding spirit of connection. The galaxy, once divided, now pulsed with unity, all because a warrior princess and a clever human dared to rewrite fate.